I thought perhaps we'd start with some Jerry Seinfeld. I couldn't figure out the last time we'd had Seinfeld on the Bimmer, so let's make a change this morning. It's from the film B-Movie. It's not as dodgy as its title sounds. According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way that a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyway, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible. Isn't that lovely? Of course, it's not true. It's a myth. It stems from early 20th century aerodynamic calculations that got some very important details about how wings work wrong. But it's not untrue. Bees don't care what humans think is impossible. Other humans, however, care quite a lot. One of the hallmarks of progressive Judaism is its rationalism, its embrace of the empirical, and belief that our religious world and our scientific world can be reconciled. It's this attachment to rationalism that allows me to happily call myself a religious person without feeling like I've confessed to an untethered belief in flying spaghetti monsters. But being rational, being logical and reason-filled people also comes with a challenge for us. Reasons can quickly mount up, and explanations of how things work can start to sound like fate. The systems are too big, the trends are too strong, history is too heavy. I think we'd probably call it realism, an honest appraisal of where we stand. But over the past year, I've started to wonder if it's not realism at all. Maybe it's something else. Take yourself on a little thought experiment. How do you make decisions about your own environmental footprint? Do you fly? I do. Do you know that stopping flying is one of the biggest things that you can do to reduce your environmental footprint? I know that. Do I do that? No. Why? Do you drive? Do you use single-use plastics? Does any of that even matter when the world's biggest polluters are producing environmental damage at a rate none of our personal choices can outpace? Another one. What about the situation in the Middle East? Do any of us think that the government of the State of Israel cares what a progressive congregation or their rabbi thinks in London if the Prime Minister and his government pay no heed to hundreds of thousands of protesters on their own streets and every single diplomatic ally they have? Do many of us have strong feelings in all kinds of directions? Do any of us really feel like we have any power or agency that we'd like to have to actually make the kind of difference we'd like to make? Rationally, logically, once you appraise all of the facts, realistically. I'm sorry. I realize this sounds a little bit more depressing than I promise you it will be. Because I want to ask this Yom Kippur, is this kind of thinking realism at all? Or is it something else? Is it fatalism? Where can our attempts at looking at our world through clear and rational eyes lead us into the opposite places to the ones that we want to go to? In the face of frustratingly glaring realities, there's often a stubborn and a maybe even sometimes slightly embarrassing part of us that wants to keep moving anyway. Maybe you noticed it pop up in yourselves as I was talking. I don't think it's because we think we can outfly physics, but rather because we suspect that life asks for more than capitulation to what seems most sensible or most logical. Yom Kippur is in many ways an anti-fatalist feature of our tradition. It comes along and it tells us to look reality as we know it, right now, in face. And it tells us to make a decision to change course. It tells us nothing is ever fixed, and people can make teshuvah right until the moment of their death. This morning was the 4th time in my rabbinate, and my 5th experience in the years that I've been leading services, that I've had to make an announcement like the one I made this morning to a room full of children and their parents, all under the age of 7, some of them just weeks old. Being in Jewish life today means knowing that very real things are very real. It means knowing that the worst of human nature is really, truly, extremely bad. And it means knowing that it's far easier to come by in our neighborhoods than any of us would like. But being Jewish in this moment also means making a daily choice to do davka, to act, and to define ourselves otherwise. We talked downstairs about Yom Kippur and its book of life, and our invitation to see ourselves as authors, to not hand the pen to anyone who would choose to write our story for us. Yes, it's on us to accept and understand reality, to understand what we're given. But acceptance is not the same as surrender. But it's easy and understandable to confuse the two. Acceptance is part of our toolbox of emotionally healthy responses to the world and its difficulties. There are moments when we need to come to terms with the fact that some decrees stand, some losses are real, and there are some forces that are bigger than us. Surrender. Surrender is what happens when we decide that those realities are an end point and a fixed part of the fabric of our world. I think it's worth reminding ourselves that, in case you're worried I'm taking you down an anti-rationalist path, that this is also how scientific thinking works. Truths in the scientific world are provisional. Our best explanations of everything stand only until they can be replaced by better ones. And all of this matters for those of us who wear our rationality and our attachment to facts as a badge of identity, perhaps especially as a response to living in a post-truth world. I am not suggesting a leap into magical thinking or denial, but instead a decision to not give up on the things that feel important and worth fighting for, even when you can't quite make it make sense. When your values and your commitments are clear, but the way to bring them into being is not. Viktor Frankl would call it the last freedom that we all have, the stance that we can take even in situations we cannot control. Because things that we see and that we can hold and measure and describe are helpful. They act as anchors. And when you can see something and measure it and describe it, it feels like nobody can disagree with it. You have the house, the job, the car, the family. It's all good. Objective markers of security have their place, but you don't need me to tell you that they aren't guarantors of happiness. Health and some of the more ineffable markers of life actually being good, things actually being okay, that we think they are. And sometimes it takes a close-to-home example to expose the truth that certainties on larger scales are also not that sure. Almost every dramatic innovation or upheaval in our world to date has involved the uprooting of something that was hitherto perceived to be solid, fixed, and unchangeable. Mountains move. Dictators fall. Entire new ways of understanding the universe emerge to change the whole shape of our earth. There is nothing that is fixed in our world. My favorite book in our tradition is the book of Kohelet, of Ecclesiastes, that we will read during Sukkot. Kohelet is Judaism's most realistic, some would say nihilistic, voice in our tradition. His book is this meandering pursuit of meaning, where he chases all of the things that he thinks will give him what he needs in his life. You could call them objective markers of success. Rabbi Harold Kushner, who dedicated most of his time to exploring life and its meaning after the death of his 14-year-old son, wrote this about Kohelet's search. Kohelet's conclusion in the face of all that he has learned is don't give up on life, give up on logic. Listen to that voice inside you which prompted you to ask the question in the first place. If logic tells you that in the long run nothing makes a difference because we all die and disappear, then don't live in the long run. Instead of brooding over the fact that nothing lasts, accept that as one of the truths of life and learn to find meaning and purpose in the transitory, in joys that fade. Learn to save the moment even if it does not last forever. In fact, learn to savor it because it's only a moment and it will not last. Moments of our lives can be eternal without being everlasting. Kohelet says, go and eat bread with joy, not because the world is stable or the markets are doing well, but to bless the bread on your table with the people that you love is to refuse to outsource the meaning of your days to the mood of the age. Leah Goldberg, one of the great modern Hebrew poets, wrote only one novel. It's called And This Is the Light. It's the first ever novel by a woman in the modern Hebrew language. It's set in a small Lithuanian town in the summer of 1931. Nora, its protagonist, is 20 years old, and she's back from university in Berlin. She's trying to decide what kind of life she will lead, and she's grappling with the feeling that there are things that have already fixed her life in place. Illness, shame, inherited pain, and anti-Semitism. Like Harold Kushner, her family history is also significant, and she fears falling into the same spiral of mental illness as her father did, and that fear and his voice loom large. Towards the end of the book, she speaks these words that have this amazing hunger about them. She echoes the sentiments set before us in our Torah reading this morning. Choose life. Ani ratzah lihyot. I want to live. I want to live all the many days before me, down to the last one, to the end. The days to come, the long string of days called life, are mine. I will dig into them with my nails, and I will not let go of them. Va'anachnu nihyeh, and we will live. Ani ehyeh, I will live. Va'ani ehyeh v'ohevet et hachayim ha'eleh, and I will live, and I will love this life. Love it with all of its ugliness, its disease, its dread, and I won't go out of my mind. I want to live. I want to live the life of a person who can breathe. Lihyot ba'or, to live in the light of the days to come. And this is the light. And this is the light that will go on shining. And this is the light. Nora stakes her claim on her future because of what she knows of the world's limit and the reality this gives her. She has this resolute determination to find a way to make things work. Her experience of life's darkness means she knows that the shadows make light and its promise even clearer. She is a realist, but she's not a fatalist. Reading her words makes me ask how we develop our repertoire of techniques that keep us from surrendering our humanity and our agency to the very forces that would flatten it. How do we stay connected to reality without giving in to fatalism? Kohelet's list is beautifully ordinary. Eat with joy, dress with care, love well, do your work. It helps us to fall back in love with the life that we might want to fight for. Leah Goldberg's is more visceral. Dig your nails in and do not let go of what is yours. Don't let others write your story or take away sacred moments. And our liturgy adds 3 more: teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah. Return, pray, and give. If I could leave you with anything as we enter a new year in a world changing faster than ever, and in which we can feel extremely small and very powerless, and where fundamental tenets of civilized life like democracy and the value of life feel in jeopardy, it's this. The earth is still round. Don't give up on physics. Realism is okay. But when it spills over into fatalistic thinking, it hands over any agency we might have, agency that the world might need us to use. Fatalism always aids those who benefit from the status quo remaining unchanged. It's not just the wisdom in the old adage that all it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing, but it's also embedded in the hope placed in all of us on this day of atonement. Don't surrender. Don't crown the forces of destruction in our world, because their success relies on our decision to give away our power. Be realistic, and then be strategic. Be scientific. Choose life, says the Torah. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses, life with all of its ugliness. Now choose it, whatever reality you face, so that you and your children may live. Wow.
This is the light, this is the dark, and this is the fire burning. These are the embers, this is the spark, these are the blessings, these are the crimes, and this is the world turning. These are the choices, time after time. What are we doing? And what are we doing it for? Ani rotzeh yad habeh yad ba'or. And this is the evil, this is the good, this is the lightning and thunder, this is the rainbow after the flood, this is the truth, and these are the lies, and these are the signs and the wonders, this is the laughter, these are the cries when we are praying. What are we praying for? Ani rotzeh yad habeh yad ba'or. And you will live, and we will live, and I will live in the light, with all its contradictions, its blessings and afflictions. I want to live in the light.
And this is the joy,
This is the joy,
and this is the pain,
this is the pain,
and this is the
breathtaking beauty.
This is the sorrow, this is the shame. Let it be written, let it be sealed in the book of forgiveness. May we be loved, may we be healed.
This is the journey, and these are the days of war. Ani rotzeh yad habeh yad ba'or. Ani rotzeh yad habeh yad ba'or.
And this is the road,
And we will live,
and this is the right,
and I will live,
and this is the weakness,
love this life,
and this is the might.
promises,
And this is the flight,
and all its terror.
this is the darkness,
I will not lose my mind.
this is the light,
I want to live,
this is the light,
so let me breathe,
this is the light,
so let me live.